If you're stuck in the bronze lobbies in Le Mans Ultimate, you're not alone. Over the last several weeks, I've shared my progression through the bronze ranks as well as the silver ranks, and I learned a thing or two along the way. Today, we're putting together a beginner's guide with 10 tips plus a bonus tip to help you reach those multi-class races. Let's get into it. We'll start with a bonus tip. If all you care about is getting out of the bronze lobbies and you have sim racing experience in the past, starting from the pit lane is an excellent option to build your safety rank and get out of bronze. Now, if you have zero racing experience up until this point, it may not be the best option because you'll find yourself in silver lobbies without silver skill. So if you have experience in the past, we'll just get that one out of the way. Start from the pit lane. Tip number 1 is to pick a car and stick to it. Over the last 8 weeks, I've tested all 10 LMGT3 cars, so if you'd like to see a little bit of driving in one of your favorite cars, I'll have the links in the description. However, it is imperative that you pick a car, stick to it, learn the car, and learn how to be consistent with it. If you're not sure where to start, I would suggest the BMW or the Lexus, as they're both really safe choices. Now for tip number 2, it's all about car setup. Setting up your car correctly is the key to consistency. To start with virtual energy. In qualifying, you can typically get away with about 20%. As you see, that shows 5 laps. Typically, you're only getting 3, 2, maybe 4. But I typically like to just throw it at 20%, and then I know I'm safe. For the race, you can typically get away with 50%, plus or minus 10%. Again, if you want to be real safe, you can run 60. If you want to figure it out and have it all dialed in, if you go over to powertrain, you have your fuel ratio here. Now, this number is not always correct, so you need to make sure after you run practice or qualifying that you check your fuel ratio in the MFD so that you can get that correct. Now, for brake bias, I like to typically start around 48-52. What this is basically doing is determining the amount of rotation that you have while you're on the brakes in corner entry. So the lower this first number is, the more rotation you get into the turn. The higher it is, the more you'll understeer into the turn. Now, some cars like to snap on corner entry and some cars like to be lazy, so you really need to fine tune this number. Along with that, we have ABS. Honestly, there's no reason not to run 9. Some of the fastest drivers in the sim run 9. I run 9. My friends run 9. You should be running 9. That's enough said there. On to TC. Typically, you want to keep these between 5 and 7. The lower the TC number is, the less it will intervene. So you have onboard TC, which is basically at what point is it going to intervene? The power cut is the amount of power that it's going to cut out when the TC does engage, and TC's slip angle is how sideways it will allow you to get before the TC kicks in. So typically, I like to run something around 557, 567, 547, something along that. It's car dependent, and really you just need to take the time to fine tune it. But if you keep the numbers between 5 and 7, you're typically pretty good. Now, tip number 3, a safe setup doesn't necessarily mean that it's a safe car to drive. If you load this thing up and get this just as understeery as physically possible, theoretically, it should be safe. We can throw the TC up to 11. It should be safe. But what happens is you end up being really slow and you lack confidence because the car's not doing what you want it to do. So it is imperative that you try and set this car up as best you can. There's YouTube videos, tutorials, there's all kinds of stuff where you can get suggestions from other people on where to start, but typically 48, 52, 9, somewhere between 5 and 7 here. Tip number 4 is all about learning the track. The best way to learn a track is to select that track, and you're going to want to do a 30-minute practice. Make sure you have the GT3 bit here selected. However, if you don't want to practice with other cars on track, you can go to advanced options here and turn private practice on. This gives you the times of the other drivers, but you have no other drivers on track to interfere with your laps. Another good thing to do here is to make sure you have tire warmers on, because in bronze races, the tire warmers are on. So you want to make sure that you're not wasting time on cold tires trying to warm them up when you're not going to be working on that in real life. Next, you want to either watch one of the faster bots in the practice session, or you want to open a track guide on YouTube and just see where other people are braking. This is all about learning and trying to get close. From there, what we want to do is unselect practice, select race, and if we go to advanced options here and scroll down, we want to randomize the grid position. Make sure that you turn damage off, because we're going to be crashing, we're going to be spinning. This is our first time racing this track. All we want to do is we want to learn where we can pass, where not to pass, in the general flow of things. And we can also learn from the bots. Along that, we want to make sure that difficulty is turned to 100%. If you leave it at 92, the bots break early, and it'll teach you bad habits where you're braking earlier than everybody else when you get to the online servers. For tip number 5, we want to take advantage of the LMGT3 fixed races shown here. This week it's at Le Mans. Now, sometimes they run night races as the secondary GT3 race. We want to stay out of those. In this case, it's the Logitech McLaren Challenge at Sebring, so that is a perfectly good option. We would like to stay out of LMP3 fixed if possible. Now, there's a small caveat to that. If your intention is to drive prototypes and you have no interest in GT3 cars, I would stick to the LMP3 fixed races, as you'll build racecraft and learn how to drive those cars rather than the GT3 cars. Once you get out of rookie lobbies, you want to make sure that you're staying in the trusted driver splits or the good driver splits. The probation, caution, anything like that, dangerous driver splits are no good. We don't want to be in those. The trusted driver splits are by far the best. The good driver splits are alright, but if you fall to the good driver splits, you want to make a real effort to get back to the trusted driver splits. This next tip is one that I get asked frequently in the comment section, and that is seat position. How do we get this field of view? If you go into your settings, and then you go to controls, keyboard, camera, and we scroll down, we have right here, seat and FOV. We can adjust the seat forward, backwards, up, and down. I have my keybinds there. And then when I get into the car, I can move the seat position forward, up, down, whatever we see fit. It is in our best interest to push the camera forward and push it up, so that, for the sake of this, in the Mustang, the hood is so large and it's so difficult to see where your apex is. By doing this, it allows us to be more consistent, faster, and we have more confidence because we know we're hitting the line that we're intending to hit. Tip number 7 is all about race starts. We want to make sure we bind a button on our wheel to the pit limiter, hold that down, put to the floor, and we're looking for the green light. And as soon as that light goes green, we're off to the races. Our foot's already to the floor, we just turn the pit limiter off, and we're trying to make our way to the outside of turn number 1. Now, when we're coming down into turn 1, we want to make sure that we're staying on the outside if at all possible. That way we can avoid the dive bombs and any carnage that's happening on the inside. As we can see here in turn 1, turn 2 at Monza, we get one car turned around that just completely bottlenecks the inside line. Now, what we can do is make sure that we're evading, and then we continue on through and just completely avoided that entire mess on the inside. So ultimately, turn 1, make sure that we're on the outside if at all possible. That way that we can escape any potential danger or dive bombers down the inside. Tip number 8 is all about qualifying. When the qualifying session starts, you want to make sure that you make your way to the end of the pit lane, but stop before you get to the RFID line here. You'll see there's on either side, there's stoplights. Those will be red until everybody is loaded into the session. Once everybody's loaded into the session, those lights will go green and you're safe to proceed out onto the track. Now, typically in the GT3 fixed series, you only have 5 minutes. However, in the LMP3, you have 7 minutes. In some others, you have 7 minutes. So we want to make sure that we're, one, fueled up for the session. We know how many laps we're going to be able to get, and two, that we build momentum. We want to have a good out lap. We don't want to be scrubbing our tires. Our first hot lap, we want to be going 80 to 90%. We want to push, but we don't want to be making tons of mistakes. And then for the second hot lap, we want to be pushing full pace everything we've got. There are some tracks like Spa and Sebring where it's difficult, if not impossible, to get 2 flyers in 5 minutes. We just need to be conscientious of that. And at those tracks, typically if they're over a 2-minute lap time, it's pretty difficult to get 2 hot laps, again, if not impossible. So just make sure we're fueled up, we build momentum, and whatever is our final hot lap, that's the one where we're really going full tilt trying to make it happen. Tip number 9 is all about aggressive drivers. In this race, I had this Mustang behind me who had thrown a couple dive bombs from over 9/10 back. So in this turn, I saw he was a little closer. He was going to make the move, so I just let him by. I found in most cases, if you have an aggressive driver behind you and you just let them go, they'll take care of themselves. They're going to crash into somebody else and it's not going to be your problem. We can see he's going wide here and was generally all over the track and throwing any lunge he possibly could. If we fast forward in the lap, not even just a few turns later, we see this driver trying to go for a gap as there's a car coming across, and he ended up taking himself out of the race. So aggressive drivers, just let them go. Let them be somebody else's problem. And the final tip of the day, if you see this icon in the top right corner, you want to make sure that you slow down. That means that you did a track cut. Track cuts, although carrying your speed is great for position, they absolutely kill your safety ranking. If we look back on one of the original races that I completed in the Road to Silver series, we can see here that with 2 clean quali laps, we increased our safety rating by a decent bit, and we had 4 clean racing laps, which did the same. However, we had 1 invalid lap, which did affect us, and then we had 3 invalid laps during the race, which affected us massively. We also had a contact with an immovable, which is a huge ding on the safety rating. But when we have race contact with other drivers, that really just affects our trusted and good driver badges rather than the safety rank. What's more important for safety rank is track limits and hitting barriers. I hope at least one of these tips was helpful for you. If you've got a tip that would help your average sim driver, make sure to put it down in the comments below. If you liked this kind of video, please consider subscribing, and if you want to be a part of our journey, make sure to check out the Road to Gold series on this channel. Until next time, thank you guys for stopping by.